Welcome to the last of the Col-Hi Wildcats 1982 podcast, brought to you by Deeds on Man Productions.
No, I know Labadie. Are you talking about the Labadie and the old or Mullendore? Which one are you talking about?
Mullendore's. It's out there.
Okay.
It's the Crossbell Ranch.
Right. Okay, I'm with you.
And so we would go out there, at night, and it would be pretty scary. Usually, I think we would take people, and if you got in the house, and someone would typically go ahead and get in, and they'd start throwing rocks out the windows or scare people half to death.
Oh, bet.
Oh yeah, and there were peacocks out there, and they would scream. And
yeah, the peacocks make a really weird sound, especially if you hear it at night and you don't know what you're hearing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll freak anyone out. Hey, this is Scott Townsend. Welcome back to the Last of the College High Wildcats 1982 podcast. Here today with a good friend of mine from way back. I say that at the beginning of every one of these shows. She's Darla Windle. Darla, how's it going? Darla Windle Wilson.
Not too bad.
So where are you coming to us from here?
American Fork, Utah.
Utah. So how close is that to Salt Lake?
We're about 35 minutes from Salt Lake proper.
So you might win the prize for the longest distance interview so far.
Okay.
So there you go. I don't know what that gets you, but I'll send you a coffee mug.
Oh, sounds good. So I'm 16 and a half hours from Oklahoma City. I can tell you that by driving. I've driven that a lot lately.
So tell us what's been going on since 1982. Bring us up to speed. Give us the 2-minute quick Darla Windle Wilson tour. What's been going on? Okay,
well, I've been around the United States a little ways. I did 3 years at Oklahoma Christian. I met my husband while in college and got my MRS degree. And ended up in San Antonio, Texas. From San Antonio, we moved to Corpus, back to San Antonio. He worked for a company called Swagelock, which is based out of Cleveland, Ohio. Mm-hmm. He ended up getting hired on by corporate. And so we did 10 years outside of Cleveland, Ohio, in a little town called Mentor. And from there, we moved back to Amarillo, Texas. From Amarillo to Utah. So that's kind of, and 3 kids later, 4 grandkids.
So what are the ages of your kids?
They are 31 to 19, almost 20.
Are we old enough to have kids 31 years old?
I know.
I guess we are. I don't know. Man. Time
most
flies.
People don't believe I have a 31-year-old and 4 grandkids from him.
Oh, so what's your family up to? Going back a ways, I don't know much about anything. So, I know a lot of Wildcats know about your family and whatnot, and brothers and sisters and mom and dad and all that stuff. So kind of bring us up to speed with what's going on?
Well, my oldest brother is in Russellville, Arkansas. He was a jeweler there. My sister is managing the shop, and it's Wendell's Rock and Jewelry off of Highway 75.
Your sister's name?
Tammy.
Tammy, and your brother?
Mark?
Harold.
And then my little brother is Mark, and he's in Tulsa.
How's Tom and Eula May these days?
Well, Tom and Eula May are still beside the shop, and Daddy has 10% hearing, so it's an interesting conversation with him. He still frequents the shop, and Mama has Alzheimer's, and so it's just part of what we're going through right now.
Right. Sorry to hear about that. When
Thank
you
you.
were, go back to high school. Let's go back. What do you think about when you think of College High and the senior year, 1982?
It was a lot of fun. I remember, something that hasn't been brought up. We played a game called, was it Killer? Do you
Killer?
remember that?
Like, what is it? Maybe I do.
So somebody was in charge of it, and you got your assignment every week.
Killer?
And your assignment for who you were supposed to kill. And there were two ways to kill them. One was you could put a black marble in their drink, and if they drank half of it, then they were dead. Or you had a little dart gun, and you could get them, I believe, at school, after school, it didn't matter. And you could shoot them, and then you put your assignment, you had a certain locker, you were supposed to put your assignment that you had done in the locker. And every week we were given a new, and I can't remember how long it went on for.
So how come I don't remember this at all. Where was I?
I don't know, but it was fun. I had someone come to the shop and try to shoot me. And I'm running out the back of the shop, and my parents let them come in and go through the back of the shop to get me.
Wow. Pretty violent game.
That would not have flown at all. We're playing the game Killer.
Yeah. Oh, no way. Today that would not fly at all.
Oh yeah, we would have been in trouble.
No, I don't remember that.
What we did back then, we wouldn't have been able to do now.
Oh no. I'm glad we didn't have cell phones back then.
That's for sure. We would have been in trouble. There would have been more evidence.
More pictures and whatnot. Killer. Okay, well, so I'll have to ask around, see if anybody remembers the game Killer.
I think it was called Killer. It was, because you had to kill somebody, but it was not real. It was.
Back then we had common sense. Nowadays I'm not so sure,
Well, and I don't remember anybody swallowing any marbles either. So.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, choking on something like that would be bad. What else about high school? Thinking back on College High, what are some of your favorite memories or worst memories? We'll go with favorite and then we'll go to worst.
Okay, well, I remember, the pigs that were greased and came through the halls. That was pretty funny. Gail Gay. He was one of my favorite teachers, and I remember.
Geometry.
I hated geometry. I liked him as a person.
Oh yeah.
And he would come to the track meets or when we were practicing, and he would smoke as a pipe, and you could smell his smoke when you came around the field.
Oh yeah.
And so you knew he was there.
I didn't like math at all, but when I took geometry, I really liked geometry. Yeah. I'm not quite sure why. I think it was because it's one of those, it's a type of math that you can look at and see, whereas everything else is theoretical and 2 + 2 = 4, but geometry is angles. You can look at them, move them around, I don't know if that's it or not, but anyway. Yeah, Mr. Gay was a good teacher.
He was. I liked him, and I didn't have John Baird as a teacher, but I went to church with him. And just a cool individual and really caring. He cared about his students.
I remember I had a class with him, and it was computer science or something, and it was moving a blue dot around a screen, and that's about it. And you learn how to do that. And I thought, back then I remember thinking, what is this? This is stupid,
Yeah.
Now I wish I would have paid more attention to it. was your best friend in high school, senior year?
Well, she was actually in college, and so Kelly Crowder was one of my best friends. Ann Holloman was a really good friend.
Ann Holloman, yeah.
Went to church with her, and Kelly. So I ended up going to Oklahoma Christian, and Kelly was there before me. So
where is Oklahoma Christian?
it is on the border of Edmond and Oklahoma City.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your greatest accomplishment since graduating?
Oh, goodness. I have held quite a few jobs. One of my favorite jobs, I would have to say, was hair transplants. I worked for a dermatologist, was hired off the table in San Antonio, and he trained me to be a hair transplant specialist. And it had to do with my working with a microscope. And it was what I learned to do at my parents' shop.
Right.
And so I had really good hand-eye coordination, and I learned really fast. And the doctor I worked for, I was seeing him as a patient. And I happened to have a condition called alopecia, where I lost practically all the hair on my head.
Really?
And so he was seeing me at the time. And I have a friend who
you were his patient.
I was his patient.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay.
And he couldn't do hair transplants on me because hair transplants, you know, I have a lack of an autoimmune system. And so it's like I'm allergic to my hair.
Now, this wasn't, you didn't have this during high school, did you?
Not during high school. I got it when I was in college.
I thought that was something you might be born with or something. It's something that can come on you and all of a sudden.
A lot of times dermatologists or doctors will say it's stress related. And so
were you stressed out?
Have I? I am probably one of the least stressed out people that you will meet.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And so that's not necessarily, something that I am. But when your hair starts falling out, you might, But, and I was told, everything from, you've got these conditions. I have an autoimmune deficiency of scalp is what it is. And so hair transplants don't work on me, but other modes of treatment have worked on me. And so I was seeing this doctor, and a friend of mine had gone to drive me because when they would inject my scalp with Kenalog, they mixed it with Lidocaine, which made me drunk. So
really?
Driving in San Antonio, Texas, is not the best thing to do.
It's not good on a good day.
Well, I was told I was number one by a lot of people.
Yeah, we were told, my wife and I were told that just the other day. Yeah.
Really? Well,
we were coming back from driving through Nebraska, and I don't know why I was driving around this 18-wheeler, and I don't know what, neither one of us knew what it was we did that irritated him, but
but it did.
But something did, and he told us, we were the best, and we were number one. So that was cool.
Yay!
So back to you. Yeah. So you got your lidocaine, and what is lidocaine?
Lidocaine is a numbing.
Oh. Okay.
And so I would get like 50 to 60 shots in my head at one time. Well, like over the course of maybe a 20-minute time period.
Oh, okay.
And so it helped with the shots that they were giving me. So they mixed lidocaine with Kenalog, and then
What's Kenalog?
Kenalog is a steroid.
Okay.
And so it masks your immune system, and I call it super glue for my hair. Mhm.
Okay, so you got so you went through that.
I've gone through that many, many times, and I still have alopecia. So what this friend of mine had driven me, and she was asking my doctor all kinds of questions about dermatology, and he thought she was interviewing for a job. And at the end of this exchange, he looked at her and he said, well, do you want the job or not? She said, well, I don't know. I'm going to have to think about it. And I looked up at him as I am in my kind of drunken state and said, well, she's not going to take it. I will.
Thank you for listening to the last of the Col-Hi Wildcats 1982 podcast. And we'll be right back after this.
Pop's Daylight Donuts, man, they've got the best tasting donuts, sausage wraps, pastries in Northeast Oklahoma. And also, if you'll tell the staff there, hey, Scott Townsend said to give me a large spicy pig, they'll give you a free large spicy sausage wrap. But you have to tell them Scott Townsend sent you. So tell them, hey, Scott Townsend told me to tell you to give me a large spicy pig. So there's the offer. There's the call to action. So go to Pop's Daylight Donuts. Say hi to Mark for me. And go to Pop's Daylight Donuts and get you some. The other sponsor is Cast-A-Fly Outdoor Adventures.
Adventure. That's where it begins. We look to create and document our moments in time while embracing the majestic wonder and beauty of the great outdoors. Our quest is to explore the back roads of the Ozarks, camping, fishing, and just getting lost. Refresh your spirit and join us on our next adventure.
Paul and his crew invite you to subscribe to the Cast-A-Fly Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel. So your greatest accomplishment since graduating was the learning the skill of hair transplanting.
Mm-hmm. I think that, well, I got married and have, had a fairly successful marriage, 36 years. So we got married in 1985 and waited 5 years. Had Colin in 1990. So, my kids are probably my biggest accomplishment, I'd have to say.
Right. I would say the same thing. Matthew's so great. If you had a warning label, what would yours say?
Oh, goodness, a warning label. You haven't asked that question. Oh,
throw you a little curveball here.
I probably talk too much.
That's your warning label?
Watch out, I talk too much.
That's not so bad.
I don't know, they used to put me in patient rooms to entertain them while the doctor was running late. And so I would make sure that they were calm and I'd tell them funny stories about my family and they just couldn't believe that they were true.
Oh, wow. Tell me one of those funny stories.
Oh, goodness. Now that I'm on the spot.
Maybe from high school, maybe growing up.
Oh, from high school. We would... Yeah. So we would go look for weird things around town. Like, have you ever been out to Labadie's, the Crossbell Ranch? You go looking for the Catman?
No, I know Labadie. Are you talking about the Labadie and the old, or Mullendore? Which one are you talking about?
Mullendore's. It's out there.
Okay. Okay.
It's the Crossbell Ranch.
Right. Okay. I'm with you.
And so we would go out there, at night, and it would be pretty scary. Usually, I think we would take people And if you got in the house, and someone would typically go ahead and get in, and they'd start throwing rocks out the windows or scare people half to death.
I'll bet.
Oh yeah, and there were peacocks out there, and they would scream. And
yeah, the peacocks make a really weird sound,
they
especially
do.
If you hear it at night and you don't know what you're hearing. Yeah, that'll freak anyone out.
Or we'd take people to the Indian graveyard at past Dewey.
To the what?
The Indian graveyard at past Dewey.
Hang on, my microphone's stupid. The Indian graveyard past Dewey. Okay. Man, you guys, killer game. You went to Mullendore Ranch. You're looking for the Catman. It's in the middle of the night. You're going to the cemeteries.
I mean, when you don't, you're not able to date, you have to manufacture stuff.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, as a kid, I can see where that would be fun to do. It's always fun to scare friends, scare your friends and whatnot. It's not fun to be scared, but
no. We did some pretty crazy stuff.
I think you would have been better off at the dance.
Probably. I mean, definitely.
Oh man. When you think back on high school, what was, you said you were not stressed out, a stressful individual. What's one of the things that in high school that concerned you the most as a student, as a senior?
I think it probably was fitting in. I mean, that's been kind of a theme, I think. What do people think about me? Am I a peer? Do I fit in? So
that was a big concern?
I think that was a concern because I was in such a small group of people, and, I knew where I wasn't going, and I didn't consider myself a popular kid. So, it's always the self-image or the, do I fit in? Where do I fit in?
So did your own kids go through that, and how did you help them through it if they did? I'm sure they did.
I mean, my oldest, I ended up homeschooling him because we were moving from Ohio we were in Bartlesville for a 6-month period, and then in Amarillo. And so he was homeschooled. And so, he's an entertainer and he can fit in anywhere. He makes his own way. There's 10 years in between Colin and Kylie. And Kylie ended up being a cross-country runner. And her junior year, we moved to, she went from the best of Texas schools where they were a nationally ranked team. And she was on that team in Amarillo.
They're in Amarillo. Okay.
In Amarillo. And they had won state 2 years in a row. And so they end up, we end up moving to Utah. And she's at the top rated school in Utah for cross country. And so she ended up being a team captain, and they voted her team captain. And so she figured out how to fit in. So, it's, we just told our kids to trust in themselves, trust in what God's put in them, their God-given rights, and you're going to be fine. So.
And talents.
That's exactly. So, God gives you talents, use them.
What's it like living in Utah in the Salt Lake City I mean, you're 45 minutes away from Salt Lake City, but
Mhm.
I was up there once, and it's amazing.
Uh-huh.
Scenic, it's amazing. I went to
Oh, yeah.
Snowbird
Mhm.
Resort up in the mountains, and
Uh-huh.
there was a restaurant up there, or it was a community center on top of this mountain,
Uh-huh.
and the views up there are unbelievable.
Oh, they're
I mean,
gorgeous.
every picture you take is an award-winning photo. You can't take a bad
Mhm.
photo from up there.
Right.
But what's it like living in and around Salt Lake City?
It is a gorgeous area. We have mountains in our backyard. We're
Oh
10
wow.
minutes from it's Mount Timpanogos is in our backyard. You know, we go up probably at least, you know, we go hiking, not to the degree that Butch Bolin does. But you know, we hike a lot. They're gorgeous. We live in a very scenic area. We do.
Mhm.
And we're not skiers. Cold is not good for me, but other than that, I mean, we live in a gorgeous area, but
Mhm.
it's not all about the view. We live in a desert too, and
Oh
most
wow,
people
yeah.
don't realize that is that we're in a desert in between two mountain ranges.
So what's direction from Salt Lake City are you?
We're south.
South, okay.
So we're in Utah Valley, and Utah Lake is about maybe 10 minutes from here.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So what's it like? So you're in a desert, so I'm guessing it's dry,
It's very dry.
no humidity,
Hardly any
hot,
humidity. We don't have a
which
lot
is
of mosquitoes.
which is awesome.
Yeah, at night, I mean, it's cool. So, yeah,
I
and
remember going to,
actually, yeah,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead. No?
Well, camping, so we usually camp with our neighborhood every Labor Day. And we go up in the mountains, and it is so cold that it is hard to sleep in a tent
Yeah.
at
Oh, I'll
night. And
bet.
this is Labor Day.
It can be hot during the day and cold at night.
Freezing.
So what are you doing? So what are you doing in a year? You're leaving
So
because
my husband is retiring, and his best friend passed away a year ago, September. And he gifted us his home and everything in it.
oh my gosh.
And so it is quite a blessing. It was something that we just had never thought that could ever happen. I mean, who does that?
Right.
But we helped take care of him when he was sick. And, you know, we've helped him over the years. And he's come to visit. He was in our wedding. And, you know, it's a big blessing for him to gift us his house. So for the last year, I've been going back and forth, driving and flying and managing that estate and getting it totally, you know, gutted and redone in Oklahoma City.
Wow.
So
That's amazing.
So we have a house to go to. You know, we have a house in Oklahoma City and a house here. So
You'll be selling the one you're in now and moving
yes.
to, and retiring. So yeah, Oklahoma City, that's a great place to retire to. That's
Oh, it is. It has a lot more mosquitoes, and most of our family that's back in Oklahoma is like, are you sure you want to come to Oklahoma? But that's home.
Yeah. Final thoughts from Darla Windle Wilson to all the Wildcats watching, listening. Oh, and then I have one more question. Let me ask this one question first, and that is the question I ask everybody is, what would you tell your younger self if you were, if you could go back in time and see yourself stepping off the graduation platform after you got your graduation? What would you, knowing what you know now, what would you tell 18-year-old Darla?
Don't
Windle?
sweat the small stuff. Enjoy life. You've got a lot that you're going to be seeing. And so just, sit back and enjoy what's ahead of you, what God's got in mind for you.
What would you tell those Wildcats watching, listening to the show today? Final last words from Darla. What are you going to tell us?
I would have to say, I'm looking forward to the 40-year reunion. Thank you for putting on this show, because you've given us a glimpse of, what people look like now, because I haven't been back since the 10-year reunion. And so this is a great preview of, I'm going to know some people.
At least I'll be able to recognize some folks. Yeah.
That's exactly, I'm looking forward to coming back to Oklahoma and reintroduce myself. It's been a ways, it's been a while since I've been home to see people. I've seen my family, but
are you in contact with any of the Wildcats?
I saw Stacy Dennis Goodness probably about 6-7 years ago.
Oh, okay.
While she was she had moved back to Bartlesville, and I went out to dinner with her. So that was good. I've seen Kelly Crowder, and she's in Tulsa. Ann passed away. Ann Holloman.
I didn't know that.
So Annie passed away. Oh goodness. It was when we were living in San Antonio. So, she lived down from the junior high.
Okay.
A kind of catty corner from the Frank Phillips mansion.
Oh.
They were in a White House, I think.
Okay. Ann Holloman, yeah.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Oh, it would have been probably 30 years ago.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
she never married. I think she had 4 or 5 older brothers. So, yeah, it was really sad. She was in a car accident. I ran into you at an Oklahoma State game.
Yeah, yep. A couple of years ago. Yeah. That was cool. Had a picture taken. Well, Darla, it's been great catching up with you and just finding out what you're doing and just kind of going down memory lane. So for Darla Windle, this is Scott Townsend. Thanks for watching, listening. The last of the College High Wildcats, 1982. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.
The last of the Col-Hi Wildcats 1982 podcast is a Deep So Man production. For more episodes, visit the Last of the Col-Hi Wildcats 1982 YouTube channel, listen on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.